All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 9 o'clock. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're gonna add something to the agenda here. Under action items, there's gonna be a resolution for a 30-day temporary emergency water surface slow no wake zone restriction. So that'll be on the item number 7. Is there any other additions or corrections that anybody?
What was that called? A resolution for
30-day temporary no wake zone?
And is there an area with some fine? Is this
Well,
along the river? Or
Brian's gonna get into it with us.
Very good,
And explain everything, because
All
he
right.
could do it better than I. Anything else? Now, is there a motion to approve the agenda? So,
as amended, second?
any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approve the previous minutes from the board meeting of June 18th.
So move.
Okay, no other additions or corrections. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make a public comment? Doesn't look like there's. Okay. Appointments, we'll start with Lisa and Millie.
Good morning. I'll have Millie come up as well so she can sit on the hot seat with me for this first item. Good morning, Commissioners. Lisa Dirks, Regional Director with the Extension. I have 2 items to bring before the board today. First of all, I would like to recognize Millie Free. A little bit of background. The County Extension Committee has 6 public members whom you appoint. 2 commissioners, Commissioner Johnson and Myrie, serve on that committee, as well as in state statute, it talks about the county auditor. If a county selects to not have their auditor be on the committee, they can name somebody else to be on the committee. And so Houston County has Millie, who is serving as our auditor designee. And Millie shared a little bit of information that I've had the pleasure of working with Millie over the last 6 years in my role. But I wanted to share a little bit about her journey in getting into this position. So she was appointed by the Board of Commissioners in 1996 to finish a term for Earl Selchert of La Crescent. And so she finished his term through 96. She then was appointed to her first full term on the committee and then was reappointed to a second term. And so those were as public members on the committee. At that time, she was then asked to serve as the auditor designee, which is also our secretary for the Extension Committee, for then A. Peter Johnson, who had previously been taking minutes at the meeting. And so she has continued to serve as our auditor designee on the County Extension Committee since 2003. And so we did miss last year at the end of the year was 20 years of service for Houston County. And so we just want to thank Millie for all of the time in attending meetings, but also the time after the meetings to write detailed minutes that we have had to frequently go back to remind ourselves, what did we do in the past? And so it's through Millie's efforts that we are able to do that. And so again, I would just like to recognize her for all of her service. We have a award of certificate of appreciation from the county that we're going to have the commissioner sign as well at the end. And then perhaps a picture at the end of the meeting as well. So Millie, would you like to say anything?
Well, I think one of the wonderful things that the state of Minnesota did was to require the presence of an auditor position on the board, on the Extension Committee. And that is just one more set of ears one more voice. And as a designee, so I was witness to an auditor always being there for many years. However, the particular auditor that I had when I was there for 7 years was a very quiet person and just took notes and did the minutes and all that. But it does allow a voice to be shared on the committee, and not only with the listening in writing and listening to all the input, but you can also have a voice. And so I thought the state of Minnesota did a nice job with extension, that they listen to the people. They have the educators live within the people that they serve. We don't have anybody from Florida up here trying to teach La Crescent how to grow apples. So that is one of, I think, the biggest benefits of the extension system, and then the committee that oversees that or helps advise it, that the people that serve you in the county live amongst the people that they serve. So just like the board.
Well, I'd like to personally thank you, Millie, for serving for all the time you have for us. You've always done a very good job. You've asked really good questions. I mean, you ought to come to our extension meetings. It's Millie's got the best questions, and everybody's, and if she don't stump somebody, that's a rarity, but you ask good questions, and you can tell the passion and extension is theirs.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
20 years. Awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So stick around because we're gonna do a picture at the end. So thank you, Melly. Okay, so we're gonna shift gears a little bit. Let me get my PowerPoint pulled up here that Andrew's got connected for us.
Yeah, I see Bob's on.
Okay.
Similar to what we had extension.
Yep, I shortened it.
That's the
So I'm going to talk about two topics within one today. Both the 2025 budget recommendations from the County Extension Committee, as well as the memorandum of agreement for 25 through 27. That is the contract between the university and the county regarding extension services that are provided in the county. I presented this to the Extension Committee a few weeks ago, and this was also presented at the recent Association of Minnesota Counties district meeting for some of you who are able to join there as well. So this is my third time presenting the MOA, as we call it, to the board, and so some of you are very familiar with the process. But again, the contract itself begins with the Association of Minnesota Counties Subcommittee. They take input from counties and the university of what's happened over the last 3 years and incorporate the changes as needed within the contract itself. Under this agreement, Extension provides services in exchange for counties paying for the cost of Extension employees. Here in Houston County, that staffing model consists of a full-time youth development 4-H educator and a half-time agriculture educator who we share in partnership with Fillmore County. So half their time here, half the time in Fillmore County. And so our goal by the end of the year is that all 87 counties across Minnesota are in agreement with their particular MOA and have signed off on that. So one of the biggest things to talk about this year is that the package price within the MOA is increasing. And we'll talk about that within the budget as well. But a little background as to why that is. The number one concern from commissioners was that there has been turnover of extension staff within counties, and commissioners would like to see recruiting and retaining high quality staff under the contracts. We also know in talking to employees who choose to seek employment outside of extension that our salary that we are offering isn't competitive in the current work environment. And so that the increased package price is designed to, we have provided salary increases over the last 2 years that were not part of the current MOA. And we're looking at doing a salary market study this fall, early next year, which will also result in increased salaries.
Excuse me. Lisa.
Yeah.
5801, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. A reminder that the package price within your contract does not equal the salary of the employee. So the package price includes employee salaries, the benefits, insurance, mileage, sick leave, professional development, all are part of that package price. So what is the package price? So in 2025, the price for a full-time position is $100,000. So your 4-H youth development educator would be $100,000. And the package price for a half-time agriculture educator would be $50,000. The other positions on the screen are just there for reference to other options within the memorandum of agreement. The agreement also includes what are the increases for 26 and 27. And so there are 3% increases in 2026 and 2027. So I'm going to pause. In your packet, I believe, I'm looking at Allison, is the actual draft of the memorandum of agreement with information provided there as well, with how those staffing costs look for 3 years, but also the details of the agreement as far as what does the county provide, what does the university provide within this partnership. There's some additions to the MOA also this year in that there is a document that talks about program deliverables. And so at a high level, what can counties expect if they invest in extension services? There's also at the request of counties, there's some additional information about what does it mean to provide technology services and what does administrative support staff roles do? So that was added per county request. As well as a organizational chart for all the positions was a request of the counties. And so it does increase the number of pages of the MOA, but those were all added at the request of our county partners. And so, so I've been focusing on the MOA and the staffing plan and just a couple of things that I wanted to reference and related to the overall budget recommendations for next year. The extension committee meets and provides recommendations. And so some other things that we are recommending within our overall budget is to decrease our software line to $400. We had asked last year to increase. We use a program called QuickBooks for financial management of 4-H. And that price was going to increase. However, a staff member within extension was able to work with that company to get a contract to only have the software would have cost $600, and now it's going to be less than $100 a year. So that's a savings for all of our county partners who provide funding for software. The second bullet point talks about our current staffing level. Again, I referenced the educators who are part of the MOA. We also have within our office a full-time support staff who is a county employee. Last year we talked about office supplies and that we had previously been under some grants with our veteran office partners. They had been providing funding for our color copying, and so that grant ended, and so this request to increase reflects that needing to cover the actual costs of what office supplies are. And then the last one is we call it non-sponsored agriculture programming fund. Currently it's at $200 and the request is to increase to $500. This line is to be used by our agriculture educator in the event there's a program where there's not sponsorship. So for example, if she were having a beef field day with 50 people attending, she might either ask people to pay or she might find somebody at the Cattlemen's Association might fund, sponsor that, right? But if she is doing a program, let's say it's 10 people and it's on a topic such as mental health. And so she doesn't want to charge because people won't come, but she wants to be able to either provide a room or provide lunch or something. And so it's a topic where sponsorship isn't the right approach to it, but she wants to ensure there's no barriers to people coming. The small amount of money helps her to be able to provide those programs as well. So that is the overall presentation. I'm going to pause and answer questions from the board.
So the MOA and for the salary portion, that's a package price. So
Yes.
that includes salary and benefits.
Yep. Their
Travel. like-
Health insurance, their
Yep.
professional development, everything.
Yep.
All comes in that. package.
What is the increase from 24 to 25?
So just a minute, because this is not my computer, and so it's back there. Hold on. Sorry about that.
It's in the packet, it's deceiving because not all the stuff is in the bottom line there.
In the 2025
Yeah.
chart, is that what you're looking
Yeah,
at?
yeah.
Yeah, because I think when we submitted it, we didn't have our support staff for the county. I'm not sure that we have their information in there. Okay. In 2024, the cost for your agriculture educator was 44,543. So that's increasing to 50,000, the half-time position. And then your full-time 4-H youth development educator was 80,648, and that's increasing to 100,000. So the total this year is 125,191, and it would go up to 150 next
We're 129 now, and it'll be
year. 125,
120
191,
next year.
150.
Now, the first year is a bigger jump. It's roughly 15%.
Yeah, it kind of, in the previous MOA, the agriculture educator was a different price than the 4-H educator. And so the percents are a little different in those two, but going forward, the educators will be the same regardless of their area. And so again, within process, so the MOA is
20%.
Oh.
Well,
From 125 to 150 to 20.
see, for the support staff, we didn't know where to put that number because, it's county employees, so we were just estimating.
when we did our whole budget.
Yeah,
What
at the-
Commissioner
at the
Johnson was
extension
talking about.
meeting.
Yeah,
And it seems to me, I thought I had it in here, but that was like roughly $30,000 more total.
wait, 25,000.
Was it 25?
Yeah.
I thought it was almost 30. but-
Yeah. Yeah, when we added up all our other lines without because we didn't have the support staff yet within that, that's where
Mhm.
Commissioner Johnson's 15%. So the memorandum of agreements are presented to county boards. The goal is to sign it by the end of the year. It is up to the board to make the decision on whether that's something they do in June. Some boards choose to wait until after they've set their preliminary levy in September. And might put it on consent agenda, or they may ask the regional director to return after the September date for further discussion. So
Mhm.
your choice.
Well, I think we could. I think we could wait until we get it close to our preliminary time to do it. But if anybody has any questions on MOA, feel free to ask. Any other commissioners, it's been explained to me how it all works and what the changes were, so. Mainly it's the salary portion, it's the biggest increase. To retain staff, help.
Insurance ain't getting any cheaper either.
Right.
Something to consider.
Any other questions of Lisa?
But we need this. Force, we need these people to be part of our groups.
Well, yeah, we. We need the university to do this for us, because I don't think we want to do it by ourselves.
It's a good program, that extension.
Yeah, Katie and Rebecca and Jennifer, now that she's full time, have done a very good job. And Lisa's been really great too. She's a great communicator. She tells us the good and she tells us the bad.
Just tell you what it is.
She'll let you know when it's bad.
Well, and I neglected to say in my comments, and I did include it in the memo that I wrote after the extension committee. But the committee did have a lot of conversation about the budget overall, about the positions we have, and about the future of the program. And we, for many years, have talked about interns in our program and how they could help to grow things and be supportive and provide even more service to the residents of the county. But after a long discussion, the extension committee made the decision to not put forward a recommendation about interns, and reflecting back that last year the board helped to increase our support staff, which has helped to also allow us to increase the services we provide, as well as the MOA that was before them to increase.
Mhm.
So a very thoughtful process from our extension
Yep.
committee.
We had a long discussion and debate about it. And
Yeah.
decided to stay with what we're doing.
So I appreciate all of them. We had Millie here with us today and the commissioners, but all of the extension committee members take their role seriously. And what they bring forward.
All right.
Right. Thank you.
Do you want to take that picture now so we can get it out of the way?
Then you don't.
It's up to the board and your timing of things.
Well, that way you guys don't have to stick
Yeah.
around. We can take it right
It don't
front
take
here real
long.
quick.
Okay, all right. You. Yes.
Still, if you guys wanna get in front of me.
You wanna move over towards Greg a little? And if we can get this not in the way. We'll move it and then we'll move it back for people on.
Spot.
Yeah. It always looks so weird in the picture. I'm just like.
Well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 20 more years, 20 more years.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much. Thank you very much for 20 years.
Gonna pass down the line and have them,
Sign it.
maybe sign below and above the lines. There's only 2 lines, but I've got all 4 of you can sign. I did want to share it before my presentation. Today is my birthday. And
Oh.
so, you know, I chose to spend it with
Should we
all
all
of
sing happy?
No.
birthday?
Yeah, I think we're better saying happy birthday. Happy birthday.
you. It's a milestone. Into the next adventures.
28, 29?
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll go with 50. That's the actual. Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you, thank you.
kids picked it for you.
All right, we'll move on to a consent agenda. We don't have one for us today, so. We'll go right to action items. Number 1, we'll just table that for now and then revisit it come preliminary levy time. That's okay, or unless you guys want to approve it now today.
If we approve it, we're approving the wages too, that's kind of,
Well, we don't. That's,
that's funny.
we're not approving, we're just gonna approve the MOA, not, we don't have no really say in the wages for the extension and educator and the That's set by the university, so.
Oh.
So what do you guys want to do? You want to table it or should we just approve it
Talking what, 25?
for the
Difference.
MOA for 25 through 27 with the University of Minnesota?
Is it gonna change?
It's not going to change.
Look at the percentage of increase, and that's a little disheartening.
It is,
That's-
That goes my.
But
we can table it and
whether we
revisit
table
it
it or
and look at it.
it isn't gonna change. I mean,
Well,
It is what it is.
you know, depends on what all the other counties do too. So
Oh, that's true.
87 counties have to agree to it. So
You wanna table it as a chair? It's fine by me.
we can table it and bring it back later.
Okay.
Number 2, consider awarding Hoggy Hill Road project to the lowest possible responsible bidder for SAP 028599102. Brian.
Morning, commissioners. Yeah, so this is the Hoggy Hill Road, it's a bridge removal and bridge removal project in Sheldon Township. I spoke with Wayne Grenigan from the town board, kind of filled him in, and township's on board with recommending approval for the low bid of Zinke Inc. Total bid from Zinke is $64,418.76. The engineer's estimate was $87,680.50. So they came in with their bid 27% below the estimate. The other bidders, I believe, 3 other ones were below the estimate. We had 7 bidders on the project. Zinke said they're having a lot of issues right now with other projects being shut down. They knew that they were hitting this hard. He really went after this project. They would like to start work out there within 2 weeks, so they want to get going right away. So what it entails is removing the bridge down at the intersection with Truck Highway 76, putting some guardrail across that section so we'll no longer connect on to 76, and then closing off the roadway on the other end of Hoggy Hill, just beyond a residence, and kind of making a little turnaround area and fixing up that. So quick little project to do. The landowners in the area are all in support of this. MnDOT agrees to fund this as a road and loop project, road and loop bridge project.
So is this a joint project between the state and the township?
So it's a road and loop bridge project. So what it is the state is essentially funding the project fully. So it's similar to the town bridge, except instead of replacing the bridge, it's removing the bridge. So there has been, permits with MnDOT for the intersection, permits with DNR and stuff, but states in support of the project. But county will oversee it like what we do for all the other town bridge projects.
So there's no county dollars going towards this
No county dollars.
in the township. Very little from
Yeah, actually, with the funding letter that we received, it was going to be paid for 100% by the state. The only township cost is they want to put up a gate where the public road ends and where it's going to turn into a private drive, because the old road's not going to be removed completely. It's going to become a private driveway beyond a certain point.
access to the limited hill there.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the removal of the bridge itself.
Yep.
The turnaround is gonna be on top of the hill.
Yes.
Like a T turnaround and pull in back out and go. The township's putting the gate up themselves. Is that part of it?
It is not part of this contract. The state will not pay for it, so they need to do it. I'm not sure the exact workings, if it's the township doing it or if the landowner is doing it, but I know that, yeah, they can talk about it.
So this construction, it's right on that, one of the sharp corners on Badger Hill there. How's that gonna affect traffic while this project is ongoing?
Yeah, so the permit with the state, so it's gonna need to stay open to traffic. They will have flaggers out there at times to, if they have dump trucks hauling material out that way and when they go do the guardrail works. So the 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 permit from the state requires flaggers and traffic control for all that stuff. So
They will.
That'll be the contractor's responsibility.
And then when they get done, they're gonna extend the guardrail through there so that nobody tries to turn on what they think is.
correct.
So would the contractor do that work too, or is the state doing it?
No, the contractor's doing that.
Okay.
Yep. And then the state's saying in a couple of years, when they go to reduce some stuff with the pavement, they're gonna go through and they're gonna replace some guardrail on their end for a future state project, but yeah, for this though, it's this contract's gonna replace or fill in that gap.
It's a relatively short section.
I'll make a motion to approve the Huggy Hill project. The lowest responsible bidder.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. So consider quotes for an Equinox fleet vehicle, Brian.
So during the last board meeting, we discussed potentially purchasing either a brand new 2025 Equinox off the state bid or looking at existing 2024 Equinox within at dealerships on lots that are available. And went out there, also dealerships within Minnesota. Talked to or emailed back and forth with Rochester Chevrolet, Lewiston Auto, and Winona Chevrolet dealership. They're the three that are the closest to us to have 2024 Equinoxes, either on the lot or out of the way. And the Winona essentially told us that they're not willing to sell us an Equinox that they have on lot at this time. They want to keep that set aside for someone on the private sector instead of the public sector. They would entertain trying to purchase a 2025 vehicle using government rates that way. So on the 2024 vehicle options, we have Rochester Chevrolet or Lewiston Auto. Lewiston Auto has a 2024 Chevy Equinox LT all-wheel drive white. That's on the way to the lot. It's in transit. It's not sitting on the lot, but it should be there very soon. Rochester Chevrolet has, the last I checked with them, they had 3 different Equinoxes. They had I believe a black one, a gray one, and a blue one on their lot, ready to be sold. When I look at the dollar amounts, if you start taking their quotes, and their initial quotes had different numbers in there with what they were estimating for some title licensing fees and stuff. Once you account for all that stuff, it comes to a grand total from Rochester Chevrolet of $31,747.06. From Lewiston Auto, $32,069.94. That's after adjusting the numbers to look for apples to apples comparisons. So it does appear that Rochester Chevrolet is about $322.88 less than Lewiston Auto. And then if we went back to the numbers that we talked about last week from a brand new vehicle, it is several $100s less than what a brand new vehicle would have been from the state bid. Yeah, if you wanted to go that route, that's something we could talk about again.
Rochester's cheaper than the state bid.
Rochester is cheaper, but this is a 2024 versus a state bid of
Looks like
2025.
25.
But there's a long wait. The state bid thing, unknown.
Yep, there's some weight. Yep, and Rochester said they had 3 vehicles at that time. Like, I can't guarantee that they haven't sold one over the weekend. I got an email from them on Saturday saying, "Are we still interested?" And I responded back, "Yes, we are. We plan on talking about stuff today at the board meetings." So
Also looking at the ones that Sheila sent out here in 32,316 for the Rochester one, your 31 number came from. You took out some of those fees that are,
Yes, so guess I don't have a copy of that right here with. Yeah, so there were some different fees that were in there. They had an estimate, I believe, in their original quote of like $500 for some licensing and title fees. And we were looking at the actual cost. It should be a few $100s less than that. And that's one of the differences between them and Lewiston Auto. Lewiston had a lower dollar amount. I think that Lewiston's was estimating $100 for their fee. Talked to both dealerships. Sheila was making some emails and phone calls, talking to both dealerships, making sure that we had apples to apples comparison. So it wasn't where one was estimating on the high side because of the fees and the other one was estimating the low side on fees. We wanted to make sure we had the fees lined up. So the numbers that I can mention today were the actual numbers once adjusted for the corrected fees.
But the car itself was cheaper.
The car itself, Lewiston was higher.
32,044 versus 32,116.
If you look at the very top, Rochester Chevrolet had the vehicle at 29,499. And Lewiston was 29,890. And then Rochester Chevrolet, the Rochester has a city tax of 0.75%. So they have a little bit more in the tax, but with the vehicle value, the taxes end up being very similar to the same because it's a lower price with a higher tax from Rochester. And then there's a service document fee. Rochester Chevrolet is $200. Lewiston Auto is $125. So Rochester's fee is $75 higher there. But then when you add that initial difference of $309, no, $391 difference to start, and ends up being slightly less with Rochester Chevrolet. Now there is the caveat, you're looking at, the dollar amount, but someone needs to drive. You need to have two people drive over there to pick up the vehicle and bring it back. So you have some staff time of getting a vehicle from Rochester versus Lewiston.
Not if you have a board.
We got one volunteering right here.
So, yeah,
The big difference is you're looking at a 24 versus 25.
24 we can get now versus 25 that we.
Geez, when you're gonna get the. Still brand new cars.
I guess we started looking at too, how much warranty work are we gonna be needing on all the stuff to take it all the way to Rochester versus taking up Lewiston, the time and travel.
Lewiston's closer.
Yeah, it's a whole lot closer for $300.
But if we buy one, wherever we buy it from, if it's new, a GM dealer's gotta do the work. You take it to La Crosse, no, Lewiston, Rochester, doesn't matter. Right?
In most cases. I found that you try and take something and go out across the street over to the other Chevy dealer, but. Well, you didn't buy it from us, so we'll do it for you, we'll do the warranty work, but if you're not on the top of our list all of a sudden.
Yeah, I understand that.
I think we should get the white one from Lewiston.
Get her done.
Pay the extra $300 or whatever it is.
Haven't thrown a couple oil changes and we got it.
Well, sometimes you get those. I don't know.
Sometimes.
I don't know if that's what that qualifies for this model or not.
Well, did Sleepy Hollow give them 3 oil changes free, I think, for a new car, new truck?
I just,
Sometimes they do for the first one or first two or whatever.
So Charlie said he got 3 free oil changes.
well, I guess that we can sit and think about going to the state bid, but there's so many unknowns. who knows what the prices are gonna do, availability. We have two that are giving us the opportunity to take at this time. I lean towards the Lewiston bid, or quote. Because of the readily available and closeness thereof, so I'll make that a motion.
Motion been made. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? I think Lewiston, I know Lewiston, I've dealt with them before in the past and they're a pretty good outfit. They're locally owned and family owned. They got a good service. They got a good service department, so. And it's, you said it was a white vehicle,
Yes.
perfect government vehicle, white vehicles.
Houston County Black Letters.
So I think that'd be, you know, we're not talking a lot of them.
They're 50% closer than Rochester.
Yeah. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Bob, you want a thumbs up or anything?
Bob's being cold. He's just listening.
Oh,
So.
wait, just listen.
All right, number 4, consider approval of Houston County election emergency plan. Polly,
Yes, our election emergency plan is due at the Secretary of State's office by July 1st. They do ask for it to be reviewed and updated annually. So we've got the hardest part behind us in getting the new information entered, but going forward, that project won't be nearly as time consuming. So I think it's ready to go pretty much.
so this emergency plan, Polly, is this? Oh, is this something new or is this something we've always done?
It's been out there. It's just recently been updated. So
Okay,
we update it annually going forward now, but
I just don't remember approving one of these before, that's all.
Yep.
So in case of weather or something catastrophe, weather event, something like that, they gotta have a plan.
or whatever it may be, where there's last minute changes that have to be made to polling places, then how do we let people know and bring in the IT people to make sure things are set up that way and
Okay,
Looks to be. A lot of document, a lot of pages, and it looks to be in order for. I move to approve the emergency plan as submitted.
motion been made. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? I've read through this and it seems all up to. It all makes sense, so. And their notifications go out to people that need to go out to let the public know. All right. There's no further discussion. Is there, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Number 5, consider approving budget amendment for Recorder's Technology Fund balance applied to offset the first half of 24 expenditures. Carol.
This is something that I guess Bev used to do it annually. Mary prefers to do it semi-annually. And the expenditures have been included in the budget, but now this is entering the offsetting revenue so that it decreases our actual levy need because we're using Recorder's Technology funds for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
And that's the way the budget is set up in the first place.
the The revenue item isn't in there. The expenditure items were, which typically will probably get back into the routine that the expenditure items won't be put in there, but they were this year. So this is like $1,100 that the county is spending that maybe was included in our levy that didn't need to be. So we'll make some adjustments for next year
Okay,
to get that.
thank you for clearing that up.
Hmm?
Thanks for clearing that.
I'll move to approve the $1,134, whatever
Second.
adjustment.
Motion's been made and seconded by Greg. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Amendment approved. Number 6, consider reviewing and approving payments. Carol, do you have a list there for us to look at and approve?
Thanks, Mary.
Is there any questions on the payments?
To be in order.
If not, is there a motion to approve the payments?
And just a curiosity. When I look at Lynn Kelch's audit list. There is a payment to Titan. For the highway department, I'm getting it up here just a second.
54,750,
Nope,
another one?
it's a different one. It was, no, it is 50 or 750. That's the compact wheel loader. That was previously approved, right? Okay, so then I have nothing to say.
Yeah, Brian came back later because
And
we ended up getting more money from the state,
okay.
correct? And we kind of. Because some of these items were taken out of the budget, and then we put them back in.
Mhm. That's all I asked. Okay, thank you.
So do we have a motion?
No, we don't yet.
I'll make a motion to approve the payments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, some favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now we'll move on to Brian on his 30-day temporary no wake zone resolution. Do I need to read this whole thing, Brian?
If you want to, it's up to your choice.
Well, I'll read the top part here. Whereas Commissioner of the Natural Resources has approved local units of government to enact a 30-day temporary emergency water surface use flow no wake restrictions pursuant to Minnesota Rules 6110.3000 -6110-.3800. And whereas the Houston County Board of Commissioners finds due to forecasted historic flooding across the Minnesota and the location of numerous homes, businesses, and other properties subject to possible flooding in Houston County. And whereas Houston County Board of Commissioners finds it necessary to enact a 30-day temporary emergency water surface use slow no wake restrictions under the following conditions. You want to get into that with us, Brian?
Sure. So last Friday, the Commissioner for Natural Resources granted local government, the counties, to control the waterways due to the emergency of the high waters they possibly might have. It's up to 30 days. So me and county attorney Yant have talked and agreed to this resolution that we'd like to have the entire Mississippi within Houston County be no wake zone under the conditions during the flood times. Basically, it'd be anything same as La Crosse County, anything over 10 feet would be considered no wake. So it'd be enforceable on both sides of the river then. Since we have we'd have similar laws then for resolutions.
How about Vernon County, are they all on board?
I've not talked to Vernon County, and to my knowledge, they don't have any ordinance or resolutions. But the sheriff's not available right now. I have a meeting with him next week.
It's important we take care of it now that I know it's the whole length of our border.
Who's gonna put all the buoys in and take them out?
My offices, been scrambling on this. I did talk to Lacrosse City, has borrowed me 3 of their no wake buoys. Borrowed for a time period. They're gonna let me know when they want them back. I made arrangements. I went on, took care of everything else, the weights, the chains and everything. The cost was very minimal, $100. I think I was able to get everything for. So my plan was to put the buoys out in the West Channel, even though it does affect the whole county. Most populated area or developed areas, that Shore Acres area. If there's other areas that need to be addressed, then we deal with it at that time for any more buoys that we might need.
So. Is this not the entire Mississippi from south border to north border?
Yes,
Channel and all?
yes.
So this would go all
We're
the
not
way
putting
down.
buoys on the main,
No,
on the
no.
Mississippi.
We're gonna advertise, notify the news, and put it in the Facebook county website. So the public knows about it.
They're basically labeling the higher populated area, which is Shore Acres.
For the buoying, yes. I would like to have a discussion with the highway department, possibly getting signs put up at our ramps. See if they can make some and put them up. But I have not had that discussion yet with,
No wake signs.
yeah, temporary no wake. So anybody puts their watercrafts in, they can see the sign.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Any place they put their boat in, use of guns. No way,
correct.
advisory to the public.
Right.
So once the water is a foot below
0.1.
0.1, so it'd be less than.
Yeah, so,
of normal or whatever.
yeah, so they classify our area as 10 feet. And
Once we
about 10
get,
feet
just
is
once we get below 10 feet, then it comes off.
after 3 consecutive days of under 10.
Yep.
Yes,
So it could be less than 30 days. Could be.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you gotta run up there and yank the buoys out.
Yes. We only have, the weights are 240-pound weights. I did talk to Y Miller Marine. But they're down in Blackhawk. And their weights they use are, like 800 pounds. And I don't think I want to put 800 pounds on our boat or even try to put 800 pounds. Yeah,
Think through, guys.
but we could do 240.
In light of the conditions that we're experiencing at this time and the possibility of more stuff coming down from up above, I move to approve the emergency no wake zone for our county water.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Then you're gonna. You two guys can work it out as part of the last 3 with a sign guy can make signs for those, right?
Yeah, we haven't had any discussion about it, so.
Landings out.
At least 5.
We go all the way down to Litchens and to that landing?
Yeah,
That's the end of ours?
right. Right. Thank you.
That's what we can do.
That's right.
We're gonna have a discussion with Brian. Engineer Brian, so maybe if. On the recent flooding events that didn't happen in the county, so you wanna come forward, Brian? I mean, both Brian's can come forward in case you have something more to add too.
Sure. The email that came out this morning.
I signed this resolution for you too, so. You need that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so for this meeting, I spoke with Commissioner Johnson. I wanted to have a brief discussion with the flooding that's going on in Houston County due to the rain that happened primarily to the west and north of us. Over the last week, I've been keeping an eye on the Mississippi River gauges and impacts or potential impacts to Wildcat Park. I've been emailing Polly and the park manager, Justin Rohr, every day, every other day, depending on changes to the forecast or projection on the Mississippi River. Looking at things over the weekend, the gauges were showing that the Mississippi was projected to crest at 13.1 feet. At 13.1 feet, that's the same elevation if water starts to overtop the entrance road going into Wildcat Park. In the last week when I was emailing Polly and Justin, I was telling them it's looking like a good chance we're gonna have to shut down the park entrance road on Tuesday and potentially be open back up by Friday or Saturday of this next weekend. Yesterday's gauge was showing that crest at 13.1 feet. So it's like, okay, this is looking good. Hopefully we keep the park open. We don't need to tell campers that they can't get in there and notify people. This morning, so I sent, I think I emailed that included both Dewey and Greg being in the Parks Committee yesterday. I think that said, looks like we're gonna be fine. We keep the park open. This morning's update shows that the river is supposed to be at 13.1 feet. Today at 7 p.m., 13.4 feet by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that's 4 inches of water over the entrance road by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Continue to rise, and by the time we get to Thursday, I believe it's at like 13.8 feet, Friday 13.9 feet. So at that point, there's 10 inches of water over the roadway, and stay up at that elevation. And now it is showing as of next Monday, still being at 13.9 feet, I believe, or 13.8 feet. I just looked at that when I was sitting back there to see if there was an update, if anything changed, and it hasn't changed yet. So at this point, it is looking like we're going to probably need to shut down the entrance road into the park probably around sunset tonight. Once that water starts going over, we can't allow people to drive in, have someone go in there with a little car and get washed off the roadway, knowing that come morning it could be 4 inches of water over the roadway. Maybe it's going to be 5 or 6. So we're going to probably need to shut it down in the evening tonight, and then based on the projection, it is still well over the roadway by 9 inches still on Monday, and it's showing it's going to drop very slowly with all the rain that happened over in the western part of Minnesota that drains this way. There is a decent chance that the park's going to need to be shut down through 4th of July weekend, or 4th of July and into that following weekend. So I plan on going down and talking to Polly as soon as they leave here, and then I'll be talking about this and getting notification out to all the campers. I don't know if we want to start canceling reservations yet at this time, or at least make sure people are notified. If anyone wants to get down there to the park to get stuff out of their camper, get their camper out, they'd have an opportunity to do it today before things get shut down. But the camper sites all look to be okay, even if the river's another foot higher than what's projected, 1.5 feet higher. The camper site should not be underwater, so I don't think any camper should be impacted unless the projection goes up a lot. Usually when you look at the river stages, it's pretty accurate. The Mississippi River Basin is such a large basin that usually we don't see the peak jump substantially once it starts getting near crest. Usually if anything, the peak ends up being several inches lower. So there shouldn't be any actual camper impacts other than, I don't know if the electric's going to be able to stay on the whole time, or if we're going to need to potentially get the electric power cut, or if it's going to blow and go out on its own. So if people have food inside their campers and stuff like that, they could lose that type of thing. Hopefully there's no power that would start frying electrical lines within campers. So that's kind of an issue at Wildcat. Wanted you guys to be aware of it. I think the two of you were in on that email along with Polly, Justin, Carol. We will notify dispatch when the park entrance gets shut down. The other roadway that's been impacting the county is County 25 going across the river. That was shut down on at about 5 o'clock on Sunday evening. It's still overtopping today. It might be able to get the barricades off later on today. If not, by tomorrow, the road should be open back up.
We're starting to see.
Yep, it's coming down. So, and it's coming down pretty quick. That's the nice about the river. When it comes down, it does come down quick. So hopefully we can get that opened up. Overall flood damage in the county. We had several loads of gravel that we had to haul out to do some minor patching or minor repairs. Very, very minor stuff that's we have, typical rainfall, we have as much damage or more than what we did in this one. So there's no reason at all I would consider doing anything on the flood side to be a declaration. Haven't heard anything from townships. I asked Brian earlier if he heard anything. Nothing on the township side. So as long as we don't have anything major when the water goes down that we see to submit to the state, we should be good on that front. So, but big thing I want you guys to be aware of is impacts Wildcat Park. That's it's going to create a lot of phone calls and a lot of headaches, I'm sure, with telling people they can't come in and camp over a holiday weekend. So we're not the only one.
When you come in the park, there's that creek and then that's where the water's coming in, gonna come across.
Yep, so it overtops from where our well house is up through where the parking lot area is. So, yep, so that's the low area. So,
Cause I was down there Sunday and the second shelter was underwater on Sunday.
yep, the first and second are both
Are
underwater
they both now?
now. Yeah. And 2 of the tent sites are underwater. The one between the first and second shelter is underwater. There's 2 more tent sites down by the third shelter that's going to start going underwater soon. And then it's going to continue to come up another 10 or 11 inches from where it's at now. So
Let's hope we get sunshine from now till next week someday.
The main area, the seasonal hot is higher, so that's no issue at this time. Do we ever have any on the south and the weekend or short-term camping area that would be flooded for campers? You talked about
Yep.
tents or camping.
yep, so we did a survey stuff. Everything should be well out of the forecasted crest. We took some pictures with our drone last May when the water came up. That was at 15.8. At that time, there was 2 sites on the north end that had just a little bit of water over the pads. I think one on the far side that had water over the pads. And then as you go beyond the shower building on the left side, there's all the sites lined up by the fence. All of those were underwater at that point. But the elevation is still another foot or more above what the forecasted crest is. So it, unless the forecast is off by more than a foot, we should be fine that way. So
Well, it's way better than what Pettibone is going through. They've been pulled off for quite some time and foreseeable future that they'll even get back in over there. I think we need to let people be aware of the potential. Because if we're gonna go get into the holiday weekend that everybody looks forward to. And then all of a sudden we let them know on the 3rd that, hey, we're closed, by the way. No, get the information out there as best you can. What I'm thinking.
Yep, and that's, I actually told Justin before this past weekend, we should let people know that there's a potential come this week, Tuesday, of having to shut down that road.
We have phone numbers, we have emails, communication wise, let people know, because it's, we can't change what the water level is gonna do, we just have to wait for it to rise at all.
Yep, so one thing that maybe Carol would know, so I know that Justin said when I was talking to him yesterday that within the system, they could send out an email for up to 10 people, 10 campers. Can they do something bigger, a bulk to everyone that has a reservation over a set date? Because limiting it to 10 reservations at a time seems quite a few emails and doesn't seem very efficient.
Check it out.
Okay. I think Polly has everyone's information for the seasonal campers.
Yes,
So
yep, I do.
Okay,
And then do you have information on the month? Well, no, you won't have the monthly site. That's all through Firefly, so.
Through Firefly.
But we'll try to get that notification out here this morning to people, and that way people can get in if they can after work today or during the day, so.
Anyway, we can put a flyer on their doors.
So. But by the time they see it, it's probably gonna be
They might
too-
not come till Saturday.
too-
They'll be gone by
too
then.
late, yeah. And it's one of the other things we did is we made sure we put barricades out on the side of the road. Last Friday before leaving, that way they were off the side, so when people were coming in over the weekend, I would kind of draw some attention, so some of them were talking to Justin, why are there barricades out here? And, it's just gonna be shut down, so trying to get people to think about it before the water came up.
How are the docks holding up?
We pulled out the smaller, the normal docks used for boats. We pulled those out so that way they are out of the water, and we cabled them up so they don't float away. So they are fine. And then the fishing pier, the pier at the south end, we went down there with a couple of concrete blocks. We raised up the platform, so tried to get that up as high as we could to keep the debris from getting caught up on it, and then pushed everything off for debris, got everything off. That was not piling up against the piers. So as of yesterday afternoon or yesterday morning, there was basically very little to no debris hung up on that pier. The amount of large debris from trees and ripples floating on the river has gone down since the weekend. River, there was a lot of stuff floating down on the river that weekend. Yesterday, when I looked at on the river by Mount Prairie, there wasn't a ton of big stuff floating down. There's a lot of smaller sticks floating, so should be fine that way for the pier. Like I said, the other docks are out. They're gonna need to remain out for the next couple weeks.
Flotsam that's going down the road, is that causing any problem on Highway 26 bridge?
It was open.
Stuff started to build up with that.
Yeah, nothing that I've heard that's caused any issues for the state yet. If it does, what the state's gonna do is they're gonna go out there and they're gonna probably just take their equipment, try to float it down, and it's gonna,
Expert.
yeah.
I must have broke loose on Sunday morning down there because there was, I bet you 50 trees, and I mean, just all one time, a whole pile of stuff come down, of trees and brush.
Yeah,
Something broke loose on Sunday morning because you wouldn't want to go out that river, you'd get killed.
we know some big trees that are starting to lean pretty heavily, where they definitely could start floating down the river. I was told that there was a lot of boats flying up and down the river this last weekend, even with the debris, so.
That'd be nuts. Them people, they were going up and down. They'd think the fish bite when it was high water. Jesus.
So Brian, your boat patrol's gonna be busy.
You
You were down there Sunday with the boat patrol.
um,
They pulled out when I,
oh yeah, we were pulling out, Sunday, yeah. Lawrence Lake sent a request out for everybody to pull their boats out of the docks down there.
do you have to retrieve any boat? Or do you have to retrieve any boats? The Corps did.
Not yet.
They did. Well, there was 5 guys from the Corps. They're down at the Red Barn in Lansing. So they gotta get out of there. That's all underwater, and they wanna come up and camp at Wildcat, but that might not work out now.
If they're just coming up by boat and trying to get onto shore that way, that most of the campgrounds above the water will be, they just won't be able to, and we don't have the power shut off, so that really they can get into the bathrooms and stuff. But they just can't get in and out by vehicle, so.
And you guys are just looking to close the road, correct? You still don't allow people to camp.
They won't be able to get in with
They won't be able to
the.
get
Well,
one
if
way
they,
in and
or if
out.
they're ready, to take their boats in. Or walk in. That's what I'm just trying to clarify, what we're closing here.
I won't walk in once, I mean,
Oh,
well,
but if they take their boats in,
Yeah, they could dock up at Lawrence Lake, buzz down there.
So are we
camp over
closing it? Or we're just closing the entrance? I mean, that's something that there's.
maybe a sore subject with campers, that's why.
Well, like I said, like they do with our living here all summer, I guess.
Well, if the road's closed, you shouldn't be going in there.
Oh, they come in like the vote.
Either.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I would say if it's closed, it's closed. If it's, that's the thing. We can't get in there with emergency vehicles, so.
Close it, you close it off.
And one of my concerns with, yeah, people are in there is that you have all those,
Then the boat patrol left.
you have all the electric lights,
monitor
they're all
entrance from the
submerged.
river, I guess.
And when they come in with their boat and they pull it up on the shore and the river goes down. I can't get my boat back in the. Well, it's just-
Emergency response is,
That's right.
the key. We have to.
You'll just have
think
to
about our Responders.
give out reminders to people that the campground is closed. So.
Get what you want out of your camper now, and that's it till we open it up.
And
They better get their refrigerators cleaned out because the current could get shut off.
So what's the footage level if for the seasonal campsites? If they were to flood? We're deep,
no, so last spring was at 15.8.
they never got there.
And
And then get-
all, yeah, and all the sites except for, actually, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 were above that. We didn't have topo information on all of it, but my guys were actually there. I told them, I said, we really should have a topo map of the entire campground. So they were out there surveying it yesterday. So, but at 15.8, so that's 2 feet above what is expected to peak. All the sites except for 4 were still above that.
They just closed the park, to be honest with you, even though there are some folks that they summer there. I mean, it's not where they go down there just weekends. I think there's some people actually live with the summer. I would think for the safety of them, the safety of our responders that we fully close.
And then, do we want to talk about refunds right now? So when we close it, a daily reservation, that's, I think, pretty simple, maybe for a refund. I'm not sure as far as getting the processing it, doing it.
Are you going to refund people or are you not?
And then how does that impact the monthly reservation for refunds? And yeah,
I don't think we should be refunding that. I mean, it's not our fault, it's flooding.
Do you know how they do it at Pettibone?
No, I do not. I just know that they pull them all out. They're all parked up along the highway there on Holiday Inn property and stuff.
and Goose Island's closed as well.
Goose Island's close.
But my wife works with a lady that camps at Pettibone and they don't get no refunds. They just gotta get out.
Pettibone people are seasonal.
Yeah.
You're paying for the season, whether it starts late because of snow and flooding or it's, you got the whole season. I think the people that paid for in advance for a daily or a weekly stay and can't use it because of this. Seems to me they should be entitled to a refund if I paid whatever the fee is to camp for a week and I can't get in.
Yeah, so if they got the July 4th weekend or whatever, they got it reserved for. And they can't get in there, they should probably get.
Not the seasonal,
No, I'm talking just
not the monthly,
It's just the short term.
the short term.
Well, we rented a cottage over in Wisconsin for next summer on June 4th weekend, and they told us that the only thing that we get back if anything happens is our deposit. We don't get none of the other money back because of flooding. That's a Mother Nature. That was their rules, but I don't know what everybody else is.
Well, we could leave it up to the Parks Committee to figure this out.
Oh, might not get high enough, so we have to do anything either. We don't know that either, so.
We're closing it already though. Just, I don't know if there's a reservation for this coming weekend. No, and then the following weekend is the 4th weekend.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot for this weekend, but the weekend of the 4th, from the 3rd or the 4th on the campground's basically full. So I know that,
And you're gonna have to play it
that-
by ear and what you're gonna do there.
yeah, but right now, so they only project out about 6 or 7 days. So right now, the latest projection is Monday at 7 PM. And that shows that it's still at 13.8 feet. So that still has 7/10, 8-9 inches of water over the roadways. So and it's showing that it's basically holding steady at that point. So hopefully it comes down, it's gonna be really close last minute decision as far as can it stay open or be closed. So I know that Justin's pushing hard to do everything we can to get it open back up if weather allows.
Well, I think we'll just have to get people informed of the potential, be prepared that it may not be a good time to camp, and as of now, we close the campground starting at the time that road gets to be overflowed.
Well, anytime somebody calls in, they should be able to tell them the situation before they even book anything.
A hectic time, but it happens.
Won't be taken.
Well, he told me he's got 3 open sites for the 4th of July for drive-ins. I mean, it's full, but I mean, what are you gonna do with the water?
All right. Thank you.
Also, let you guys know, as of yesterday, we haven't had any reports from cities or townships of any major damage or anything. They haven't reported anything to us. We've had minor damage, of course, but nothing significant enough.
There was some damage down Winnebago Valley.
Yes, some, but not enough to cause emergency
Emergency
management.
management to come in.
Yeah, criteria to kick in.
County 31 was tore up pretty good, but that's just gonna take a couple loads of rock and some waiting.
We were out doing some of that stuff yesterday.
We see you were out shouldering rock yesterday.
We're doing shoulder, we're doing surfacing. So most of the. Those operations basically didn't get stopped at all. We kept doing all that. Actually, you guys doing some repairs and. Probably a normal operation otherwise.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board updates, the only thing that I wanted to bring up is that we had our Board of Equalization here last Tuesday evening. Went pretty well. We were worried about keeping it going for an hour, we're here for 2. Made a few adjustments. Some we did.
Relatively minor.
Anybody else? What do you got?
I had, last Wednesday, I had the solid waste meeting with LaCrosse County, annual meeting of budgets and all that. Everything is in order. Still working to extend the life of the landfill. And we had Xcel Energy talk about the plant over on. I did a tour of the plant. One of the it's really interesting how they burn the stuff off and all that, and they showed me the new grinder they have where they can take couches and make them small enough to be burned, and it floats in the air. None of the flame is on a surface like we have a fireplace, and we think it would be, it's all floating when it's burning, so that was interesting. The one thing that I need to highlight and make people be aware is keep those lithium batteries out, because when a lithium battery gets into the system and it sparks, it shuts the plant, shuts it down, because their supply, they have to put this fire out. So that was the ones that talk about lithium batteries, because we don't want them in our waste. They want more waste in reality. So we're gonna try and approach one on the county to join the group that they know, and all those sending their stuff to Iowa. Get their landfill stores. Then that's about it. That's my highlight. Now let Bob talk about our finance meeting this morning.
Not much in the way of meetings to report, couple of words, just short ones. Finance was interesting. We talked with Carol with regard to the monies that we have in like ARPA, what's left there. There's 100,000 that we got from. That's sitting in reserve, all of which has to be spent by the end of this year for ARPA. Not sure on when the 100,000 is due, but. So we gotta look at getting something to do with that money, and it's not hard to find. The biggest factor as far as finance is concerned, it's gonna, everything is running pretty much so true to form as far as the budget is concerned. Biggest concern is what's gonna happen with negotiations for next year's budgeting process. How the construction season has started as far as June started, paving has begun, County 13 work is ongoing. Brian told us about Highway 25 being closed because of the flooding. Health and Human Services. Their Jeep lease ends in 2025. They've got a leased Jeep, an old Equinox, and a van that's got 150,000 miles on it. So they're looking to do some replacing as far as vehicles in the Health and Human Services, even though we replaced 3 last year. So they've got some issues as far as that's concerned. Social Services got an issue. Our computer system is through Traverse. Traverse is likely going to pull out in January. They are, like Ohio has one site for the entire state, and all the counties participate in that site. Minnesota, each of the 87 counties is independent, and they haven't got them all lined up, so they're going to be pulling out. So that's going to be a kind of a big issue for Health and Human Services, and they have to have something. So there's an outfit, CaseWorks, that is involved with 60 counties in the state of Minnesota, and their program works as far as the Health and Human Services, but it's about an $80,000 cost to make the transition from Traverse to CaseWorks. And it also takes roughly 6 weeks to get it done. So we've got to get moving on that, because if it's done in January, we got to be up and running with something else before that happens. So that $80,000, they may get 13% return from the state because of the funding mechanism. But I think that's a good place to use some of our ARPA dollars and to get that up to date. The other things that we talked about as far as like ARPA and 100,000, there's also, we should look at, we've got water heaters over at the jail that are, over at the county justice center that are, one is just about shot, that I think we're gonna have to look at replacing those, and they run, what was it, Carol, about 11 grand a piece? So that would be another place to start using some of this ARPA money before the end of the year. We just gotta be aware of the fact that, the water heaters are bad. The computer for Health and Human Services and the vehicles is all areas that we could use some of this ARPA money rather than sending it back. And there is some issue as far as the state and the CRP letter, and we bought out that CRP when we bought the land from Pinky, and now there too many people and not enough that know what's going on. So there's some issue as far as that's concerned, getting that squared away. And the audit's ongoing. That's enough.
Do you have a department head meeting?
No, we did yesterday.
I did. Was I on?
But department head.
Me and Dewey were
Greg, what do you got?
we had a department head meeting yesterday, and then Tess had said something about Carol, didn't she, that she'd purchased some kind of a cooling system over there, or air conditioner for 11,000 or something?
Yeah, that's the water.
That's
That's the water heater that they wanted to go. She's talking about it anyway.
Get on the patient because there's 3 of them. So obviously if one is going bad, the others are going to be.
Needs to be put on a schedule, yeah.
Replace.
And two of them. The third one is a backup in case one of the others goes out. We got one that's out, so the other two are running. So we do need that schedule to get at least two of them new. The third one scheduled.
And outside of that, talking about job reviews and interviews. Public health wants to hire a bunch of people, county shop wants to hire a person. And outside of that, wasn't a lot, it's just that they need more help, everybody does, I guess, so.
Is the hiring
The
replacement?
second, how,
Couple replacements and one's,
in the public health, there's two openings right now. It's a social worker and a public health nurse, which handles the WIC, are the two that are vacant. They'll be posting them. And one other thing, Andy and his technology keeping up to date, changing over eventually. The Zoom is kind of on its way out, and then the new area code. I hope you've got notice from your phone, but there'll be a Caledonia's gonna have a new area code in September, I believe, starts 924. So any phones after that will be coming. And then plus we have to start dialing into 10 digits. I know Ace sent that out to me that effective July 30th, 10-digit dialing. So
there will be some 507, won't there, do it? Then they say there'll be a few that could stay 507.
well, the 507 will remain that are in place now, but any new phones.
725s are being changed. Or
No, the area code,
Just area
not the
code.
725. So the 507, because we've run out of numbers apparently, well, Caledonia is gonna start out with a 924. Going forward. Oh, I wrote it down here. But the 10-digit dialing is gonna start July 30th. For me to call my next door neighbor, I have to add the 507. Even though we're in the same area code. What else did I forget? The busy time with the culvert going in soon. And seal coating being done today out at the community services building. Seal coating. That's probably done by now.
So have we, is negotiations met with MAPE and AFSMI and
Nope,
deputies union yet?
we're supposed to do that today and supposed to
We're supposed to get some dates, so we've sent dates out to the different union reps to say these are the available dates. Basically, Greg and I have set aside every Tuesday after a regular board to be prepared when they give us a date, but we have not heard back as to what dates work for them. So ask them again. We did, so there's an email that was sent out to the three different unions saying, hey, these are the dates were available. Let's schedule one. Nothing has been scheduled as of yesterday.
I mean, we're getting into July here. It'd be nice to have something.
No, I was supposed to get paperwork last Friday and I haven't seen nothing yet.
So you guys don't have a meeting today?
No. Just keep prolonging it.
Yep.
And I guess I got one more thing is, a couple of weeks ago, Kimberly Frank was following our mower down 249, our big mower. Rock come out from underneath the mower, and took out her back window of her car. And, we turned it into the insurance, but they said they wouldn't pay for it because it wasn't a big enough expense, it wasn't over the deductible. I've gotten two bids from them and I got one from Lee Auto in Spring Grove. It's $350 to fix the window and H&R was $1,100 to fix the window. But H&R wouldn't put used parts in and Spring Grove said they could put a used window in there, no big deal. And they were wondering if we would pay the $350 one since the mower kicked the rock into the back seat. That's up to you guys. If there was a person sitting in that back seat, we might be in a lot more trouble. That rock probably would have took his head off.
Their policy on it.
Well, we paid 600 for a window down in Wildcat a couple, 3, 4 years ago. We haven't had too many accidents like that.
All the
It's
guards,
just a freak one.
yeah, all the guards were in place and everything.
I mean, the mower was the way it was supposed to be. It just that when you hit a rock, sometimes they don't come out the way they're supposed to.
It happens.
So the mower was mowing. Shoot that blows the grass going into the ditch or shooting it up on the.
Straight out back.
Straight out the
It- There's curtains all the way around it, so sometimes one sneaks out, but there wasn't a police report or anything was reported of what happened, so.
Just Kimberly seen it and her ma seen it, but Jim Hodak, he didn't see it. I imagine he was paying attention to the front. You know, can't be watching both ends if you'll be in a ditch.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's up to you guys. You wanna pay the 350 and I got the quotes down in the pickup. Forget it, whatever you wanna do.
I know Brian said that in the past, they've never paid these because of,
We paid a couple, so.
well, that was a different situation with wow, that was on at the campground, right? That was when Jake was mowing.
They kicked the rock off when it did more and broke a window.
There was never any actual evidence that that's what.
See, that's where I'm getting at. There's not a police report or evidence to prove exactly if that rock came from that mower or whatever. I mean, if there would have called 911, had the sheriff to do a police report, then we could have something to go by, but we don't have that.
Well, they went up to the county shop and reported to Brian, I guess. They went right up there afterwards. That's all I know. Why the cops weren't called, I can't tell you. I
Yeah.
don't know that. It was just a freak accident. I know when I'm mowing along the road.
Well, it's like when you're following a truck and the truck tire kicks up a rock and hits your windshield. Pretty hard to do something about that either. Well, we'll just look into that further, I guess, unless you guys want to do something now.
No, we can just get more information. If Brian talked to the guy that day of the incident, we have Brian explain what he saw. We need more information.
Brian I don't know if Brian talked to him or not, but they went up and reported to Sheila. I talked to Brian, he says he don't know nothing about it. Jim Hodak says he doesn't remember seeing a rock fly out, but he said that they do fly out. I mean, if there would have been somebody in that back seat, I don't think we would be discussing too much at all.
Well,
That'd be a bigger police
Yep.
report
yeah,
then.
there'd be involvement there.
Different scene.
So,
I brought it up, I told him I'd bring it up to the commissioners and
Dewey, did you happen to mention department head reviews, where the status on that is coming?
On negotiation,
Well, for personnel committee, you said, I brought it up last week, and you said you'd bring it up to personnel committee. Asked Tess if that's underway or getting started.
the policy.
Department head review.
Oh, yes, I mentioned it and she indicated she sent out the 3 people and they haven't come back yet. I don't know which 3,
There's more than 3 department heads, isn't there?
but she sent out the 3 at a time.
Oh. Okay. The self-evaluations?
Yep. So the evaluations have not come back.
All right. Okay, anything else?
no, I'm done.
$5801. That's a county number.
Must be the auditor's office.
Those are county, yeah, assessors. Bob, you wanna bring everything up?
No, you guys all had great comments there, so thank you.
Easy way out.
I can tell by your face expression, you got some great comments.
Popcorn gallery.
All right,
Allison, can I give you Bob's stuff?
Put it in this. Hold it.
is there any closing public comment? Doesn't look like we have anybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, Indian adjourned.